3 seconds now. Yeah, we're live. Welcome everyone to our live stream. Classic Menswear, vadis. Where are we going? That's the question for this evening. And I'm really excited to talk about our shared passion with these fine gentlemen. I'm happy to introduce Sam Diamond from Sam Diamond Tailors. He's a trained litigation lawyer, but quit his job to build his own made-to-measure suit brand in Melbourne, Australia. Good morning, Sam. I hope you're not too tired. How are you and what's the time in Melbourne?
Morning, Nicholas. It's about 5 a.m. I think. So it's all going well here, mate. Thank you very much. Early morning in Australia. We're getting towards autumn, or you might call it fall, Demetrios. And you guys in Scotland, I don't know what you call it. Probably autumn as well, right?
Yeah.
So look, it's getting a bit colder now, but it's nice. So we can wear these type of tweed suits and things like that. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Cool. Thank you for being here. A very warm welcome to Shaban Ali. Shaban is a style consultant, marketing professional, photographer from Glasgow, Scotland. Good evening, Shaban. How are you doing?
Hello, how are we? It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm very excited for all the discussions today.
Very nice. And last but certainly not least, Demetrios Levi. Demetrios is a marketing executive at Craftsman Clothing, content creator and video editor. Good afternoon, Demetrios. What's up?
Thank you. Hopefully I'm not too delayed for you, but yeah, no, I'm doing good. Actually, I don't, just to clarify, I don't work for Craftsman anymore.
Sorry.
But yeah, no, that's fine. They're great, and I still love their stuff, and I'm actually kind of representing them right now with this polo shirt. So yeah, but yeah, no, I'm doing good, and weather's great. Perfect timing. I'm, feel sorry for Sam. It's so friggin' early for him, but it's right in the afternoon for me. So I appreciate your sacrifice, Sam. Thank you.
No problem.
Cool. In case anyone wonders, my name is Nicholas. I'm from Germany. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Before we start talking about the future of classic menswear, I'd like to talk about how we got here, so we have a better understanding of everyone's viewpoint on the matter. Demetrios, do you remember when and how you got into classic menswear?
Okay, so I'm gonna make it as short as possible, but I was always into classic. Well, even when I was like 5 years old, I dress up a lot. Like, I'd wear a tie, a bow tie, and a vest and stuff like that. I just always liked it. But I got out of that once I hit high school, and I was just a stinky Afro kid, and just nothing to write home about. And then once I got into college, I started getting the style because I saw my friends dressing nice, but it was more street style. And then I think it was watching Aaron Marino on Alpha M is what kind of introduced me to that. And I went, okay, wearing a suit, that's nice. And so I took out an old sports coat from my closet and started wearing that. And all of a sudden I was like, wow, I really feel confident when I'm wearing this. And I felt good. I was able to focus more on my studies. And I was like, you know what? I really liked the power that it gave and what it kind of represented. And then that just kind of took me down the rabbit hole, Instagram and stuff. And then I finally found kind of with my Mediterranean roots, the kind of Southern Italian style. And I went, you know what, I'm really digging this. So, and then it just kind of went down from there. But I'd say it really started in college with finally putting on a sport coat and going, wow, I like this.
And obviously it did have a huge impact on your career choices in the end, right?
Oh yeah. Because I went to college for film. And I always knew I wanted to do YouTube or something film related. And I was like, you know what, but what am I going to talk about? I was thinking of being a commentary channel, but those guys end up, it can be a whole mess and just not very helpful at all. And I always wanted to help and inform and teach. So once I found this and how much it helped me, it just kind of put two and two together. And I went, wow, okay, I can do my film, I can teach and talk about my passion on YouTube. So it ended up perfectly mingling together.
Any specific plans for the foreseeable future on that? Anything
Sorry, say.
Do you have any
Sorry, say that?
specific plans, with your YouTube channel and so on for the foreseeable future?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I hope it gets bigger. I hope it gets to the point where I can kind of venture off and do more things. But I'm debating on starting my own brand. So I know a lot of guys are really. I talk a lot about trousers and the perfect fit and the rise and all that good stuff. And even I'm having a hard time finding something that isn't bespoke that actually takes in all these things into consideration. So I thought, you know what, if I might end up just going, screw it, I'll make my own and, sell it for a decent price. Obviously not fast fashion, that direction, but definitely something more on the classic lines that kind of fits into my philosophy. But yeah, I think that's where it's eventually going to go. I mean, but nothing ever goes according to plan. So that could totally just be destroyed in one night and then I have to go find something else. But for now, that's kind of the goal.
You already made a video about sewing a pair of go-kart trousers, right? Any more sewing videos, maybe?
Yeah. Actually, that's what I'm working on right now. And I'll just give you a hint. It's a nightmare because I've never done it before. And I have no idea what I'm doing. And it's slowly coming together. So we'll see how it goes. It's actually right over there. I'm not going to show it. I want to keep it a surprise. But yeah,
okay.
The next video might possibly be a sewing video.
Okay. Shaban, do you remember your first suit?
Oof, I think my first suit, my whole kind of situation reminds me of yours, Dimitri, about what you were saying about how you went to college and like after you dropped school and everything. It's quite similar to me. My first ever suit, I actually still have it sitting in this wardrobe behind me. It was my suit for prom. That was the first ever suit I ever bought, and it was just a generic high street one. But I chose something a bit special. It was like a nice, almost royal blue, but had some mohair in the fabric, so it had this nice sheen and sparkle to it. And it was a 3-piece, and it had like black silk trimmings. Probably not something I'd definitely buy today, but for the occasion, it went well and it suited it. And it still fits me. I must have been a wee bit bigger back then. It's been 5 or so years, but it still fits me quite well. And I only wear it here and there. So that was definitely my first suit, and that's how I first really got into menswear. And Classic Menswear was buying that first suit, and when I had it on, and I was like, damn, this feels good, and like I feel comfy in this, I feel good in this. And that's how it all just sparked that in me. And I was like, yo, I like this. I kind of want to wear more of this.
That's interesting because I actually don't still own my first suit because it was a horrible pick. I don't know, Demi, Sam, do you still own your first suits?
Me, no. I got a I think it was for my 10th birthday in 1996. I used to, request when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, a Batman, a Superman outfit, these type of dress up clothing. And I don't see this as anything different today, to be honest. It's dressing up because it's fun and I like the way it makes me feel. It's no different to putting on that Batman or that Superman outfit when I was 5 or 6 years old. But when I turned 10, I said to my parents, I want a blazer, I want a sports coat, and they got me one with gold buttons and everything. And I probably got to wear it twice because, what 10-year-old has an event that they can wear a sport coat to. But it was just from watching television and cinema and going, wow, that looks cool. This James Bond character, that looks cool. And to me, it was dressing up. Probably until I became a lawyer and it became a bit of a habit to dress that way. And I didn't have a passion for dressing up, I would sort of begrudgingly put on a blue suit and just a sort of boring tie and was all ready to wear stuff. But 2015, went on a holiday to Italy with my fiance now, and we went to Milan. And I got off the plane wearing board shorts, a singlet, and thongs. I know what you guys call thongs. It's a different thing. The beach shoes I'm talking about here, right? And I saw these guys in Milan with linen suits and pocket squares and multiple chains hanging off their, pockets and all sorts of glasses and cool hats and stuff. And I thought, whoa. And that's the moment that I got into classic menswear, because I'd never seen anything like that in Australia, not in America, not anywhere that I traveled to. Italy was like shocking for me. And 2015, 16, 17, started an Instagram account, which I suppose got some followers, and that probably encouraged me more. Started Made to Measure company, and then now we're 4 years after that, 5 years after that now. So that's a roundabout story, but that's how I got into it. There's always a passion for dressing up, but certainly traveling to Italy opened my eyes to the possibilities for it.
Dimitri, do you still own your first suit?
No. It was I probably had my first suit at like, I don't know, 5, something like that. So clearly,
okay.
it wouldn't fit me now. But if you're talking about more like in recent years, I'd say, oh man,
maybe a prom suit. I don't know.
No, I didn't go to prom.
Okay.
I was that kid. So let's see. It was a black suit. I don't know what it was for, but I'm also part Lebanese, and when you're Lebanese, you have a huge family. And when you have a giant family, there's always a funeral. So there was like a funeral going on every year. So some extended family members. So it was a black suit for funerals. That was probably the first like suit I had. But yeah, and I still got it. I still have that one, and it's awful. It's from I don't know what it was. Not Men's Warehouse, but it's just god awful, just disgusting. I mean, from a snob's point of view, yeah, sure, I'm guessing it would look okay to most people, but I can't stand it. It's so ugly. But yeah.
Okay, so Shaban, from your first suit now, the road to getting into the classic menswear business, tell us about that.
I think it was what Sam said earlier about, the influence of, movies and cinema and TV. That definitely had a huge impact for me personally. It's really, after this prom suit I bought, it was, I left school and I was reinventing myself almost, figuring out what I wanted to do, how I wanted to dress. I knew it was something that was important to me anyway. I was quite expressive before that in school. And then it was just like, okay, I need to find something expressive and I can still be myself, but in a more mature way, a more developed way. And I specifically remember there was this period where I went to uni and I dropped out and I had all this free time. Uni is like college, 4-year degree. I dropped out at the very start. I had this whole year off and I was like, okay, I've got a lot of time. What do you do when you have time? You watch movies, right? So I was like watching all these movies, and I specifically got into this period where of like 2 weeks or something like that. I binge watched. I found my thing was gangster movies, right? So all of the classics like Goodfellas, Casino, Godfather, all the De Niro, Pacino stuff, right? I was like, this is my genre. I found this, and all of the stuff was like set in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s and the Prohibition era, and I was just watching them all constantly, one after the other. And I noticed the suits. The cuts were completely different. There was lots of color, there was patterns, there was checks, and it was just like, wow, I've never seen anything like this. If I'm walking down the street, business suits, lawyers and all this, navies and grays, but this was just completely fresh. It was different, and it was like red suits, orange suits, and the 70s suits, the 80s suits, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. They look amazing. And it was kind of Demetrius, what you said earlier. It was about like what comes with that, right? Like the power and the tension and like the presence and the kind of the symbolism of the suit back then was probably more important, right? The gangsters are wearing them, had a power to it. I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. It's badass. That definitely, those 2-3 weeks, and I was watching all this and consuming this all, definitely got into my mind where I was like, yo, these suits look cool. They look badass. And I think that was very early on where I was like, yeah, I kind of want to get into this. I want to dress like this. It was too cool. And then they were all vintage suits, of course, for the time, 20s, 30s suits. So the first proper 2 suits I bought after that were vintage. And that was really my first introduction with it. I went onto eBay and I had a look around and I bought 2 vintage suits. Both of them I still have and I still wear regularly. One of them is a brown check, and the other one's like a blue check from Hardy Ames Savile Row tailor, and I picked them both up for like really good prices and took them to my tailor, who I started, getting to know, and it's kind of how it started really. And then after that, just slowly by slowly getting more into vintage, which I found out has become my niche. The quality, the fabrics, and the cloths, and you start when I find something interesting, I really find it interesting. I consume it. I could become obsessive. I start researching, reading about it, and going all in. And Instagram became a thing. I joined Instagram, and you start following all the big Instagram icons and fashion icons, and you start learning and pulling everything from them.
And you tend to add your own personal spin to every outfit, I think. Especially the Baker Boy hats with the brim backwards. Do you get weird comments on that?
Sometimes, yeah. Like this has become my signature. Like the Baker Boy. I could just wear it like this, like everyone else does. But I'll tell you how. Like, I was in Greece one time, and I was with this lady. I'm walking next to her. We're having a conversation with chat, right? And I'm wearing it like this, and it's a nice sunny day. It's all over my eyes. And we're walking next to each other. She was like, I kind of want to see your face. I want to see your eyes. And we're having conversations. And we got home. We got back to the apartment. I was like, you know what? I was like, let me try this. Let me turn it around. I looked in the mirror. I was like, okay, now you can see my face. I still have the hat on. And that's how that started. I looked in the mirror. I was like, you know what? I kind of like this. It's a bit different. I can still wear the hat. It's still warm. But that's how that started off. That's like my signature. I think everyone needs a signature, something that's identifiable to their persona. It's like branding yourself, whether it's glasses or a specific thing that you do, And Nicholas, I think for you, it's definitely you wear a lot of collar bars.
Yeah,
true. As part of your vintage style, Demetrios, looking at you, I've only just met you, but the collars, I could see that being your thing. Everyone has a thing,
Oh yeah.
So this became mine. And the journey continues. You learn things, you soak up things and inspiration from everyone, but then you have to find your own style. You have to, pull it all together and be yourself, do things your own way for sure.
The interesting thing for me is that like wearing the cap like you do is in German sense like bending the rules, and something you hardly get away with here. You will receive a lot of weird comments on something like this. And this is maybe a question for all of you. How is it in your country? I mean, in Germany, for example, tie bars are frowned upon, or wearing button-down shirts with a necktie. Sam, what is it like in Australia?
Certainly you wouldn't get looked down for wearing a tie bar. I think, Australia's probably a little bit sort of in this stage where everything is quite slim and fitted. And I mean, it takes a little while for things to sort of flow down here, if you get what I'm saying. But as we were talking before about, film and cinema, I mean, and YouTube, and even your YouTube, Nicholas, and all you guys' Instagram has made that time frame, which is, delaying the style getting to Australia, it's made it rapidly increase. So people have their finger on the pulse a little bit more here now. But we always follow the seasons. So, it's winter, and then it's winter here. So it's really, we follow like what happens in the United States and Europe, what gets worn in Pitti. And that's why I've gone to Pitti in Italy 4 times, is to go over there and be on the ground and try and get a look at what's coming, what's big, and try and capture some of it and bring it back. And if guys in Australia want to tap into that and they like what they see, then they just need to find a person like myself, and they can pretty much make anything that they need. But I think that like the temperature is a big part, obviously. One time I went to Pitti, I bought this beautiful, I think it was an 800 grams thick lamb's wool overcoat, and it's a fantastic coat, but I get to wear it fuck all in Australia. Like there's no snow here, it's just not appropriate, you know what I mean? So it's sort of about being comfortable, and I suppose that I get quite hot and sweaty really easily, so I sort of have now made a lot of my suits with no lining and still structured and still some padding in the shoulders, took out of the lining and things like that, and that seems to be a trend. in Australia because people just want to be able to breathe and to be able to wear something that's comfortable. And certainly COVID has probably accelerated that.
And what's with the, like the classic British rules, like, I don't know, no brown in town, no brown after 6 and so on? Is that a thing in Australia? Because it's a huge thing here in Germany.
What was the brown rule? No brown in the town. Oh, okay. So no brown shoes, like if you're a lawyer. Nope. Is that what that means?
Yeah. Okay. Exactly.
Yeah, people have no respect for those rules in Australia. Absolutely none. They're shocking, man. Maybe you guys have the same in your own cities. I'm not sure, but yeah, you regularly see the guys in a suit with like Asics running shoes. They're not supposed to touring it. They just don't have comfortable shoes, and you think, come on, man, like you can get something better. But yeah, I suppose they're getting there. I mean, when I first worked in a law firm, I wore brown shoes, and that's what one of the partners said to me. He was like in his 60s, but that's not as much the rule these days. If, for instance, in law, it would be a white shirt rather than a blue or a grey or something like that. Always white, always clean shaven face. The facial hair, that's a big no-no in the law firms, unfortunately. And the tie, well, it's encouraged to have a boring and quite straightforward one, to be honest. The sartorial statements have never been encouraged in certain industries such as that, because you're supposed to blend into the background and sort of look organized and competent, but not be like not be making a statement. So look, it depends on the profession completely, but generally guys are pretty average with those rules. You're regularly seeing guys with the stitches on the back vents walking around on their new suit, regularly seeing the wrong belt and shoe combination and things like that. But look, I'm not too much of a stickler for the rules. There's a couple that I really believe in that I think, like I see a guy wearing a suit with a backpack on and I'm just like I'm not going to say anything and I don't care about it that much. But there's a lot of that shit here. Yeah, no doubt.
Dimitri, what's it like in Michigan, in the USA?
So in the US in general, I think that the sad thing is this is a place where I'd say traditions, they get watered down and then they die. So when it comes to traditional stuff, it's not gonna last long. I mean, more in the country than in the cities, obviously. And I'd say here, the thing is, it's a little odd. So, when I go to even a city like Plymouth, which isn't a big city in Michigan at all, it's more like a town, right? But you'll get guys dressed really, really nice. But then around where I live in the country, and you get rednecks, which are like when it comes to dressing, like it's like they see how to do things right and wrong, and they choose wrong every time. So, and hey, I used to be kind of a redneck in high school and early college, so I feel fine saying that. But here it's a little odd. Yeah, it depends on where you're at. But still, just the suits in general. If we're gonna talk classic style, I mean, suits are just business suits, almost always cheap. Polyester gray suits or navy or black, and that's pretty much it. Thin, ugly, skinny lapels. Usually, either it depends. So if you get like an older gentleman wearing a suit, it's going to be huge on him, just like a complete boxy cut. If you get a young guy wearing a suit, even in the town that my brother lives in, I've seen some really well-tailored suits. From when you see it from a walking distance, like you're like, oh, that looks nice. I mean, it's probably, if you went up close, it'd probably be a little too tight or something, more of the contemporary styles. But I mean, it's kind of a mix. Like the younger people know how to dress better, but it's definitely that more Instagrammy look where it's, and what I mean by the Instagram look, it's kind of hashtag menswear, not like the more classic stuff, but you know what I'm talking about, the more modern kind of suiting that's just very trendy and there's nothing personal to it, and it's just, but it looks nice, so I can't complain. See, I complain more about it when you're scrolling on Instagram, you're like, oh, that's a bad suit, but when I see a suit in general, I'm like, finally, yes, so it all depends really. But Yeah, it's here. I mean, in Michigan though, I'm kind of happy because there's a lot to choose from. I guess where I guess you can get away with, so to speak, because our summers are really hot. Well, compared to how cold the winters are, so it's quite extreme. So I mean, you can really bundle up and wear thick wools and tweeds in the winter, and then yeah, pretty much in the summer, all I wear are linen pants because I can't wear anything else or else I'll sweat. Um, and I live, Michigan is surrounded by water, so you can be a little bit more nautical, I guess. It doesn't look as out of place as if you were in the middle of a field in Kansas. So I'm kind of happy that where I live because there is that kind of atmosphere. But honestly, if you just dress in a polo shirt, I'd say in most places you're going to be considered a well-dressed person, which is it's unfortunate and a benefit at the same time. It's just, yeah, the United States is not known for style, aside from like New York. But aside from that, it's, especially here, you're not going to find much sartorial stuff here. But I know a lot of guys who are interested in it, and they're just more nervous about dressing this way, because most people don't. But I've just finally said, screw it, and did it. And I honestly don't care if people think if it's too much overdone or like, why are you dressed up like that? I go, why aren't you? That's my response. Why not? Why wouldn't you? But yeah, it's the situation here is, I'd say where it is in most places. I can't really say any talk for Europe. In Greece, it was exactly the same as here. Mostly dudes in t-shirts and, stuff like that. But I can't speak for Italy. I've never been to Italy, but that's kind of that's the dream. So, but yeah, it's kind of normal, I guess, which means t-shirts and shorts.
Okay.
Can I ask you something, Demetrios, as well?
Yeah.
I always notice in American Netflix shows and movies, they almost always in the United States have a button-down collar, like a Brooks Brothers looking shirt. Is that like a thing over there? You know what I mean? Like older men, they tend to have a button-down collar.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of old school American. And when I say old school, I mean it does exist, especially with the older gentlemen. But I'd say that most of the times when I see just a button shirt, it's just got a presidential spread and no buttons. But I'd say say about 50-50, actually. Yeah, there are quite a few. And that's what a lot of guys have. Whether it's flannel or an Oxford cloth or whatever, yeah, that's definitely one of the more popular styles out there. But I don't think I didn't know anything about it. I just thought some come with buttons, some don't. And it was, no one thinks about it as a stylistic choice. It's just there and they take it. But yeah.
Now, I'd suppose that the United Kingdom being the motherland of classic menswear rules, it might be better there. But Shaban, is it really?
You know what? It's not. I'll say this, right? Outside of London, the UK, honestly, I think Dimitri is going to be very, very similar situation to yourself in the US. Scotland, I can speak for sure, but England, even in other places and cities I've been in England, it's terrible, honestly. Literally outside of London, the whole of the rest of the UK, I'm going to say, in my own experience, I'd say it's very similar to probably the States. If not, I'm honestly going to say probably worse. London is an absolute mecca for tailoring. We all know this, and for styles and for sartorial culture, it's huge. It's insane. But it baffles me how you go this way or this way out, a few hundred miles, it just disappears. It doesn't exist, like where I'm staying, Glasgow in Scotland and even Edinburgh and everywhere in Scotland, the sartorial culture here does not exist in the slightest. You have the older gentlemen that have been wearing suits for ages, but like what you said, Dimitri, just very baggy, very old school 90s cuts. They don't care anymore. It's very baggy and loose, and they've been having these clothes for 30 years or something. The quality is still there. Surprisingly, I can see the cloth. I can see, wow, it's held up and the quality is fantastic, and they're still wearing these things over and over. But at that age, it's not something they really care about anymore. It's just they throw it on and, you see them out the door. it just, that's all there really is to it. You know, the younger people, I guess where I can bring into this is speak to this is, you know, as a younger guy, I'm 23, I can see a lot of the younger guys getting into tailoring. Not so much. It's just they'll be buying things for events and occasions, you know, prom, or they'll have a wee wedding here, or you know, there'll be a celebration occasion. That's the only times you're going to see the younger guys wearing suits here. It's, you know, occasion based. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, they'll just go to the high street, right? They'll just go to the high street and they'll find the quickest and cheapest, you know, high street suit they can find, wear it 2 or 3 times. And it's just, you know, it's very fast fashion orientated here for the suit culture for the younger guys. It's not something they care about. And outside of that, for the other age groups, it's just business suits. It's just, you know, your classic navies and grays. And even then, it's a shame. It's just high street. No one really cares enough. It's just uniform for them. It's something you have to wear. It's not something they actually want to wear. You know, there's no passion behind it. You know, it's just, oh, here's a navy suit I'm going to wear to work. Here's a navy tie. You know, I don't like wearing it. I don't particularly have any passion for it. I don't really want to know more about it. It's just I'm wearing it because I have to. Yeah, there's no rules. It's what you said, Nicholas. It's, you know, Germany. I think everyone is very structured there. It's very organized there. You know, you live by the book, the code. You follow rules. You know, this is this, this is that. Over here, man, probably the same as the States. It's the wild card. Anyone does what anyone does. You know, and I find this interesting. I want everyone's opinions on this, but here, you know, maybe more so as a younger person, Dimitri, what you kind of touched upon it is like this attitude of not caring, right, and just doing your thing and just wearing it, right, and you stand out for sure. You know, I definitely stand out when I'm wearing a three-piece suit or whatever, right? I usually do have more of an Italian style, you know, El Spezzato. I break up my combinations and you stand out. People look at you and like, why are you dressed up? Or like you say, like, where are you off to, or where are you going? You know, and you get a lot of attention, a lot of looks. And I'm cool with that. You know, it's just part of my personality and I can express it. And I'd encourage anyone, you know, especially when you're starting your journey, to not be discouraged by that. You'll have a lot of naysayers and things. Just do it, just embrace it, you know, follow that path. You'll love it. It's well worth it. But I find personally, I want everyone's opinions on this, it's kind of like a rebellious culture. Maybe it's because I'm a younger guy, and for the younger guys, it's more so. It's like, what are you doing wearing it? You know, it's seen as a mature thing. You know, early 30s, you should be wearing suits. You know, because I don't have a profession where I'm wearing the suits, or I'm not a lawyer or, you know, anything like that. So there's a rebellious side to it. You know, where the culture here is, you know, if you're wearing the suit, you're standing out, you're going against the grain. What do you guys think? What's it like in Australia, Sam? And, you know, like, is there that culture there?
Well, yeah, I just thought of like when I used to wear like a double-breasted navy suit to the office and and wear no socks, and like these people would have a heart attack when I walked in, and they're like, "Did you forget your socks today? Like, what's wrong? Didn't you do enough washing?" You know, I'm like, "No, motherfucker, this is style. Understand?" And they did, and they didn't get it. You know what I'm saying, Shaban?
Yeah.
They just
Here's the
didn't
thing, like,
get it.
it's what you said about earlier. When you first went to Italy, you got this massive shock, right? And it's the same for me when I went to Italy. Your mind is just blown. You see colors and fabrics and stripes and textures like you've never seen, hats and bow ties and cool shoes, right? It's just a mind changer. You never see this in the UK. You probably never see it in the States or like Australia. Like, it's just crazy, right? And it's like, we're doing this here. You're doing it in Australia. You're doing it in the States. I'm doing it here. It's like we've soaked up all of this culture and sartorial know-how, and then we come home. We're doing it. We're dressing it up, and it's like we're bringing that from Italy and Pitti, and we're exposing it to the general population here. And then they're walking down the street, minding their business, and they see a man in a three-piece suit and a hat and a tie and the pocket square, and they're like, "Whoa, what's going on here? This is crazy!" Or look at this guy, why is he so dressed up? And it's just sartorial culture isn't the norm. So it is rebellious. You do stand out and it catches attention. You know, you get looks. And I find that just kind of interesting, right? How it all spreads.
Yeah, that's right. And I think like, yeah, the big thing I thought was people would always say, you always think of like gay men within, you know, homosexual men within the fashion industry. And Australia is such a masculine place where like, if you walk in with a pink shirt on or something like that, they might call you that. But that was in my head, this association with fashion, but it's actually style, and it has nothing to do with whether you're gay or straight whatsoever. And I think it's more importantly about like the confidence. Like if you're gonna wear that shit and you want to wear a statement, you have to own it. You can't go half-hearted and be like, oh yeah, do you guys like it? Like you gotta fucking walk in that room and bang, sit down. You know what I'm saying? And I'll tell you something. The
Nicholas, I think this is what
you get.
Sorry, no, go. What were we saying?
I was just gonna say the comments that you get, I reckon, from in particular women at the start of that journey. Oh, you look smart. Oh, like not even girls you're trying to date or anything, but just like around the office. They're the ones who are showing the appreciation first, because the guys are thinking it, but they won't say it to you straight away. You know what I mean? They want to probably in their mind, they're like, who's this standing out trying to be different? Like Demetrios said, why not? Why would you not? Life's too short to go through like another lemming. You might as well stand out a little.
Yeah. Nicholas, what I was going to ask you was
in
terms of standing out, you're the guy. Like, I don't know. There's not a lot of people dressing like you. You have this vintage style specifically. So you know probably more about that than anyone because you stand out. The confidence has to be there.
Yeah, I actually made a video about that because it's really a problem in Germany, because at first we still have a lot of fast fashion, even though we like to stick to rules, because those suit wearers, people sticking to rules, are the ones that at least started dealing more with classic menswear and so on, which is one of the problems, because it's very discouraging if you get into it. And making mistakes or being creative is natural, and those people like to put you down because you didn't follow some rule, which is actually just something they heard from someone. That's really a problem in Germany. Demetrios, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. So Shaban, what you were talking about with, rebellion, right? So I was thinking for a while, I'm like, okay, am I dressing like this purely for rebellion's sake? Because I used to be a metalhead in college too, before I got into the sartorial world. I mean,
so
I had,
Nicholas
the
and myself.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, all right.
Me too.
Yep. See, I've noticed that trend. Yeah. So I was like, okay, am I doing this because of that rebellion, right? And I thought about it, and then I realized it wasn't, because I think the rebellious part made me not care as much about the outcome. But when I look at style, and like I talk about it in a video, saying how you're an ambassador to your beliefs, your morals, your country, your family. So whenever you go outside, you are representing all these things. And how you dress, it's kind of like how an ambassador dresses a certain way when going off to represent their country. We do the same thing. So I had to ask myself, okay, what do I represent? It does make you think about what is important to you and what you value, and what I want to manifest physically about myself through my clothing, right? Through my garments. So I was like, okay, and it's kind of the thing is, generally it kind of happens subconsciously. Like what you gravitate towards, you realize like, oh, that's because I do like this, I like that. It's not just as simple as, oh, I like how it looks. Like it might feel like that, but when you go deeper into it, you find out the telos, the final cause, the reason why you really do like this thing. And so with me and this kind of classic style, I found that I'm much more, I like the old world, I guess you would say. Just the older way of doing things, a more simpler time. Might be harder, but a more simple time, and where quality mattered, and you didn't get the problems that we have today. And so the suit kind of represents that. The style that I choose is definitely response to my Mediterranean heritage and what I love, Greece and Italy. And also but I definitely, I mean, with the kind of collar popping over, yeah, you did see it in the 30s and such, but it's definitely, I don't think someone would say I look like old fashioned, I guess. I don't know. Because a lot of times I put in a little bit of street style into my looks. And it kind of does blend because I do like a lot of things about the old world. I like to represent the old world, especially I'm Orthodox, and that's like as old world as you can get. But at the same time, I'm not like I'm still living in the modern world, and so you can kind of see that. So I found this synergy, this good kind of physical representation of what I want to show, and it might go against the grain in some ways, and I realized that I just don't care. But I'm not like, because for a while I was thinking, am I doing this just to be contrarian? And I think for a lot of us, it's more, at least when the metalheads will understand that, you know, when you're a rebel, it's just not giving a fuck, pretty much. So that's just kind of something that I was thinking of.
I want to emphasize the point with the metalhead, because when I learned something from being a metalhead in school, being like the one of three guys on the whole school, when metal wasn't that mainstream like it is today, when it taught me something, then not giving a fudge about what other people think, how I dress. And this makes it a lot easier to, I don't know, wear a three-piece suit in IT every day, which is not that common. You know, IT is not famous for being a very stylish field. So, yeah.
It's just a little bit like the Italian guys, isn't it? You just have to have confidence when you do it.
Yeah, definitely. And it's, I think it's interesting how many people that now are, you know, very deep in the classic menswear, and originally, I don't know, came from, you know, listening to metal music or gothics, or people from I don't know, pen and paper role playing or LARP. I don't know. There are a lot of people.
There's a lot of crossover with creativity.
Yeah. And people that learned to not, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, look at these guys in classic menswear, like the Anglo Italian company. Like I could name about 10 of these guys who used to be in like bands that were like pretty good. Such a crossover with music and menswear. It's strange, but it must be the creativity, eh? Like, it has to be this sort of thing where people are into expressing themselves and taking a bit of creative license to put their own spin on it that crosses over, perhaps. I'm not sure, but there certainly is a connection there, isn't there?
Yeah, it's something I've been trying to figure out. It's funny that I had no idea that Nicholas and Sam, you guys were fellow metalheads, and it's like, it is something that I was like, I've noticed it with a few other, guys who are into classic style, and I'm like, what's the link? And it is kind of like, I mean, maybe metal, it's extreme. I mean, in a way, you know, and so there is a kind of, the pendulum swings one way to the other. Or maybe it's because I tired myself out so much from headbanging and stuff that I just wanted to kind of relax a bit. So I don't know. I have no idea. I'm still trying to figure it out too. It's weird, but hopefully one day we'll probably write something down and figure it out and make a paper on it and get it published, because it's something really, really, I actually think it is a strange phenomenon, but it's kind of cool though. We're not stuffy, you know. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, well, let's take a step back and look again on the, you know, more conservative businesses where there are actually still dress codes. So Sam, when did you realize that being a lawyer is not for you?
Probably just at about a year and a half into practicing at a big corporate firm, like a big, you know, doing mergers and acquisitions and all this sort of shit, and working real late. And I just thought, you know, I don't mind working hard. It was working hard doing something that I wasn't passionate about. You know, let's help this insurance company, or let's help this airline or bank. I didn't particularly feel I was helping the world become a really better place. And for the amount of hours that I was working, I didn't feel like the money was even worth it, type of thing. And as a creative person as well in that environment, I thought this probably isn't for me, you know. So I gave it a crack, and it just wasn't my thing. When did I realize that it wasn't for me? I'm not sure if there was an exact moment like that, but it was sort of an accumulation of these sort of experiences of not fitting in, and perhaps having some imposter syndrome, you know, where you think, I think, you know, I'm not really supposed to be here. I've never really had that in menswear, maybe a little bit, but definitely not as much. It always felt like more of a home. But it wasn't so much that when did I realize law wasn't for me, but it was when I realized menswear was for me. Um, I probably like it's my career, you know. I have a made-to-measure suit business, so it's my job now, 24/7. And probably I started doing it, you know, putting up Instagram posts, and people started to reach out to me. Oh, where can I get a suit like this? And you know, I started doing made-to-measure suits for family and friends. And when I started to get actual clients who are complete strangers and come in to get suits from me, and you know, the first couple, I thought, "Whoa, they look really good," and like they looked in the mirror, and you know how you if you put on a really nice outfit, like for the first time, like you haven't had like a really well fitting tailored suit, and you sort of look in the mirror, and you sort of go like this, and it's not that you look good, it's that you feel good. And when I saw I was able to pass that feeling onto people, and they look in the mirror and you literally see their eyes light up because they've never seen themselves look so good. That's probably those first couple of clients, and getting them to feel that way. I think that is what really hooks me. Yeah.
And
Because a
how?
lot of people get into it and they'll just quit after a few months, like it's too hard, like I can't get clients. And it is hard. Like if it wasn't, everyone would do it, you know, and almost everyone is doing it, but not everyone does it well, and not many people do it successfully. And even I have a lot of struggles, to be honest, especially over the last year with guys not having weddings and not wearing their suits to work. It's been a terrible year. Um, but yeah, yeah, seeing those guys react positively to it was the moment I was hooked on it.
Okay. So now you already mentioned like the last year was horrible. You know what? Tell us more about that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so like I would say my clientele is broken into a third guys, you know, who are like yourself, who are like really into style and they want something cool and different. The other third is weddings, people who want, you know, tuxedo or a nice blue suit or a three-piece for their wedding. And then the other third is corporate gentlemen, such as lawyers or accountants who need to wear a suit to work. And all three areas were decimated because the style guys had less money to spend. Some of them did, some of them didn't. The weddings were postponed or cancelled mostly until the last few months. And the corporate guys were working from home. So it was a complete disaster, actually. And people talk about the areas worst impacted by COVID as tourism and, you know, hotels and restaurants and stuff. But yeah, menswear, and in particular, formal menswear, in some ways was, you know, destroyed last year. Many people will not come back to the industry, I'm sure of it. So, but to be more positive, like things are bouncing back now. People haven't lost the passion. Other people who are teachers and nurses and jobs that have been secure, they now have more money than ever to spend on like their wedding outfit or their sartorial statement outfit, and now they're keen to get dressed up. But yeah, it was a dark time, and still is a dark time, to be honest. But you know, we're coming out of it finally.
Yeah, but that's, I guess, since we wanted to talk about the future of classic menswear, I think this is a very important point. You know, you told us about the three groups. I totally see them. I think you know, weddings are like a conservative enclave of fashion. You know, I don't think that this will ever die out, because it's maybe the only occasion men still wear, for example, morning dress. You know. Otherwise, it would have died
Or
out
tuxedos in
already.
Australia.
Yeah, tuxedos and so on. So I don't think that weddings or classic menswear at weddings will ever die out. But what's with the stylish guys, and what's with the people that have to wear a suit to work, especially with all the working from home going on? Do you think that will recover like it was before? Dimitri?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Oh yeah, you know what? Myself.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Myself, no, I don't think. I mean, I've been thinking about this a lot. Well, first, we're already seeing, before COVID, we saw a massive casualization of the workforce, at least here in the States. Definitely. You get a lot of people. There's a guy that goes to the monastery I go to, and he loves dressing up. He's a middle-aged man that loves to dress nice, and he stopped because it was just, people were like, why are you dressing like this? And it was, oh, you think you're better than me and all that bullshit. So the thing is, it already started. It already was happening. And then COVID came, and I think it just exacerbated it. It just emphasized it even more. Now, when it comes to suits and stuff for work, it depends. Like, banking was kind of the last place for classic menswear, but even now, I have relatives that work in finance and stuff, and they're saying already they stopped wearing suits because they want people to feel more comfortable. Like, I'm just like you. But the thing is, it's like, no, you're not, you're at this level up here and you're pretending you're down here, but it's really it's kind of a lie, in my opinion. And it's like, I totally disagree with that kind of mindset. I think it's deceptive. And so we're already seeing it. And with COVID, I think it's just going to go even more towards that extreme. I think, though, the suit itself definitely, I think, is going to survive. I mean, but when it comes to the business suit, I don't think so. But if you think about it, the business suit is kind of a modern thing already. Suits before, you wore them to work, but you wore them outside of work. So when it comes to, or just even a blazer or sport coat. Okay, so I just want to say this. I made a word for a jacket with lapels called sakapeto or sakapeto. And it basically, that's Greek sakaki, which is jacket, and peto, which is lapel. So a lapel jacket. So that, because I really do want to pass this word out and get it into the mainstream, because you have, I'm serious. I mean, think about it. You got the word blazer, you got sports coat, and you got suit jacket. And they're all different things, but they all can look almost identical. And then it's like, okay, so what's the word that describes all three? Jacket. Well, that's stupid. Jacket can mean anything. So, so I don't know why we don't have this intermediate word, but for me, that intermediate word I'm calling sakapeto. It sounds Italian, but it's Greek, which is a lot of words. If I translate it in Italian, it was way too long. It was like giacca rivolto, and no one's going to remember that. So sakapeto, yeah. But people used to wear sakapetos outside of work and in work. Now we're kind of, when people stop wearing suits to work and they're just wearing their normal everyday clothes to work, well, that's what we used to do. It only became more business-like, at least from what I understand, is kind of post-50s. So when you started to see normal streetwear become stuff other than suits, sakapetos, blazers, and sports coats. So I think the business suit is probably going to die, but I don't think the suit will in general, because we're seeing it even in high fashion, like in crazy colors and different cuts. And now I even have a jacket, a sakapeto, that is almost like a cardigan. It's so comfy, and it's kind of like a mix between a cardigan and an actual sports coat. So, and those are definitely, I've been seeing more and more of those pop up because they're comfy. Comfort is kind of the main thing. And I think classic menswear, it always evolved, right? We all know this, that a suit jacket or a suit from the 20s is different than a suit from the 40s, right? but still within that realm of being classic. But things evolve, and I think that's what we're going to see. I don't think we're going to see it in business, but we're going to see it change a lot. But that's how it's going to survive. But the business suit, I don't think it's going to last too long.
What do you think, Sam? I mean, you were in the business. Will there ever be even companies, you know, where a litigation lawyer works without a dress code? Will this really die out?
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. You know, Demetrios, you're still gonna have those Lebanese family catch-ups. So I think it's not gonna die. Certainly, even for the business professional, it's just gonna change a bit. You know, like the casual Friday. You know, where people don't wear a tie to the office on a Friday. It's like now that's gonna be maybe every day. Like things like the tie or whatever, I think will die quicker than the suit. But yeah, there's certainly those occasions, but those occasions are becoming few and far between. You know, such as weddings, funerals, charity balls, and events such as that. You know, it's definitely going to slow down. But I think people probably like the suit's been overdone for a while too, don't you think? Like, it's had a pretty good run. Things such as the North Face puffer jacket or a Kathmandu jacket as sort of killing overcoats because they're so much lighter and they're very comfortable to wear. They don't look as good, but I don't know, Shaban or Demetrios, if you could talk about, you guys certainly live in a colder climate than I do, but I know in Melbourne, most people do not wear an overcoat. They wear a North Face or a Kathmandu black puffer jacket. So things like that have come in and they're a lot lighter. They're easy to stuff into your bag and like they have really impacted menswear. And I think will continue to, including the suit.
I agree. I think for here anyway, especially it's all about convenience culture. It plays a big part of it. You know, people just want to be comfortable. They don't really style and fashion isn't as big as a deal. It's more about just being comfortable and the looks don't matter. So there is a lot of streetwear that comes into play. There's more, you know, puffy jackets and, you know, just big, thick, baggy things that, you know, that do the job, you know, especially where I stay, it rains a lot, you know, it's quite cold. So yeah, I do definitely see that the overcoat is dying. And kind of what you're saying, Nicholas, about corporate culture, I do think dress down thing has definitely changed in the last 5 years, you know. When you look back at the 60s, you know, Mad Men culture, it was suits every day in the office, ties, and it was a standard, it was a uniform. People wore it in work, people wore it out of work. But where we are now, you know, you only really wear a suit if you're at the office. But even there, you know, there's no pocket squares. And what you're seeing now is, you know, this whole dress down culture. And, you know, what you're saying, Sam, about Fridays, dress down Fridays becoming an everyday thing. I'm definitely seeing that. You know, the ties are disappearing, jackets are disappearing. It's just become, you know, a smart dress shirt and navy or black or gray trousers. That's become the new corporate culture for dressing up. You know, I'm seeing it a lot here, which is a shame. But I do think there definitely still will be a need, and an, you know, occasion wear is still going to be a thing where people want to dress up. You know, it's funny because there's when we look at menswear, I think we also still need to look at women's wear. They both kind of come together, you know, because the women always, I think, are dressing up. It's a bigger deal for them to care more about fashion and to care more about dressing up and looking good. It's much culturally a bigger thing there. Menswear is kind of mirroring that, I think, you know, especially in fashion. So the ladies all still make effort to have nights out and dress up and things, and then the guys kind of still have to, right, to dress up and put on a jacket and still look good because the women are doing it. The guys still need to make the effort, right? So I do think there's relations there, and you need to look at both sides. When you look at menswear, you have to also look at the women's wear. You know, the women's there are still booming, it's still going strong, and there's always nights out. There's always occasion wear. So I think the guys will still have excuses to, you know, wear a tuxedo on this night, or even just, you know, jeans and a sport jacket. I'm still seeing that a lot on nights out in the city here anyway. So I'm glad there's still something there to hold on to. And Demetrius, especially what you said with fast fashion, it's still huge. You're still seeing that pushed out the door, right? Which I guess it's probably not where we want it, skinny lapels and tight suits, but at least it's still there. It's going to be an introduction for more younger people to get into suits, or, like me, even buying my first suit, it's, oh, here's a light blue suit. Maybe I can wear it with some sneakers or, a t-shirt, or even if it is just trousers, suit trousers. It's an entryway, it's an introductory for people to become exposed to it. And at least we can be grateful that it exists where people can become exposed to it. And then, maybe when they buy their first suit, the second suit, they can learn, they can make the mistakes, and then they can evolve and find their own sartorial journey after. But dress down culture in the workplace, for sure, I see that happening. But also, fast fashion as a thing for suiting, I think it's, at least we can be grateful. At least it's good. It's still there. It can help, bring people into the culture. And I am seeing more younger people getting into suiting and sartorial culture. It's good to see that it's not just the people that are working in the workforce and lawyers and in the professional industry that are wearing the suits. It is the younger guys kind of getting into it. I think when we talk about the future of menswear and the future of the tailoring sartorial industry, you have to look at the younger people and see, are they caring anymore? Are they looking into it? And I think they are.
Mm-hmm. They've got the most passion at the moment, I would say. Like the clients that I see walking through the door that like really are into classic menswear, they're in their 20s.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think social media has had a huge thing to that. Your Instagram culture is just, it's massive. It's boomed this, it's just, now almost you can, type in anything. Yeah, maybe so. Like, how do you think that the influence is there, connections wise?
Well, I haven't given up on at least parts of the mainstream. And sure, Sam has a really important point when he talks about convenience, because let's be honest, suits are not convenient. Natural fibers are not convenient. However, comfort is something a suit can do, because I think the problems with suit comfort is not a problem of the suit itself or classic menswear, but more of the suit fashion of the last 20 years. Let's look at slim fit. I hate slim fit, not just because of how it looks, but also of how it feels. It's really uncomfortable. So I totally get why men don't want to wear slim fit suits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think too, it's just moving in a different direction, I guess you could say, classic, or like suits and stuff like that. Yeah, from less work to more occasion based. Like Sam, like you said, funerals, there's always going to be, respect for the dead. The kind of more ritualistic kind of aspects of our society, I think, are going to keep this. And that's, something we see all throughout history. I'll just throw an example out there. So the toga, right? By the 1st century AD, Romans really stopped wearing the toga. There was a writer who said, like, the only time you saw one was a man in his grave, right? When they dressed him in a toga or something like that. But it survived all the way until 1453. And even beyond that, it just evolved a lot. So the toga became the trabea triumph, some triumph, like when the emperor was in triumph going through the city, he'd wear a certain type of toga. And then that became a little more slim, and then it became gold and pearled, and it became, in the Byzantine Empire, it's called a loros. And then the loros, you can see it, it's like about this thin, and it wraps around the body, and it looks very different, but you can see the relation from it. And then that lasted throughout the empire, and then the Russians kind of took it over, and now Orthodox bishops wear it. So it still technically survived. It just evolved, but it wasn't worn by regular people. It was worn by the emperor, bishops, and the consuls and the Senate. So, and only a few in the Senate. So it became a very ritualistic based garment. And I think that's what happens to a lot of very iconic pieces of clothing throughout history. You see this once it becomes unpopular, it survives in some kind of fashion, and it usually takes the form of ritual. So I think that will happen with weddings, funerals, And I think those will be where the suit will last the longest. I think hundreds of years, but maybe we'll see. But or we won't because we'll be dead. But but right, yeah. But and even parties though, people like. I think too when you get everyone dressing so normally, I guess, and relaxed, and not caring how they look, especially because of lockdown and COVID, and everyone's kind of just in sweatpants. When they go out, I think people want to go out, and like, all right, finally, I got a chance to wear this. So I think it's gonna, and then it becomes more elaborate, right? It becomes more crazy. You'll see more colors, more textures, things more interesting. So in that sense, I'm really excited because I was never the kind of guy to just wear even though I have a great respect and they look awesome, like a good navy suit can look incredible. But I think you'll see more like individual kind of style poke out, a little bit more pizzazz maybe, because when people are partying and wearing a awesome, tux or maybe a Tom Ford-esque velvet, jacket, it's like, I think that's where it's going to go. It's just, I think it's kind of moving in a different direction. Maybe if it is going to die in the workforce, it's going to survive in other aspects of life, more ceremonial and more occasion based.
I even think
that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I even think that that we have the best chances of certain garments surviving in individual styles. When you look at, like, for example, Zach Pinsent, who brought back Regency fashion. I mean, he's just one guy, but well, he's very well known now. And again, I think we have the best chances by just being our individual selves and wearing what we want to wear.
It's amazing how one person can have such an impact, though. You don't need huge avenues, to show off and to have inspiration and influence. Like, there's very, very few people in my own city that dress up, and I've become this character now where everyone just recognizes me around as like, oh, there's that guy again, or I've become this person, this figure, and it doesn't take much to have influence, and you don't need crazy amounts of money or crazy amounts of Instagram followers or any of this stuff. You can just make a big impact in your own city, and
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's kind of cool because I know a lot of influence comes from films and TV shows, but it's always awesome when it's a real life scenario, when it's someone actually dressing like this, not just on a movie set. You know what I mean? So, so it's cool that way.
It's funny what you said earlier is like I related to it so much. It's like when you see someone else in a suit, you get excited, and it's like the exact same for me because you just don't see it. So it can be like whatever, the fast fashion, whatever. Like, give me a two-piece suit, clean shoes. If I see someone walking down the street, I'm like, oh my God, it's like another guy. It's like this thing that we've got going on, this connection. I'll give them a wee nod of approval sometimes. It's kind of fun. It's kind of cool, but you get excited, and the more we see of that, hopefully we're in good hands, and then have some faith. Hope is
right. There. Yeah, and I think too what you just said. It's like you have this connection because it's kind of like people used to have their tribes, and when I mean tribes, I mean in the literal sense, in the broader sense, like your tribe is being your family, your village, your country, whatever. But now tribes are more spread across; they're scattered. Right, all across the world. And I'd say the menswear, it is a tribe, right? Because we do have this kind of common way of thinking, this common goal, as you'd say. And, but we're all over the world. And I think that's how it survives too, because it might not be a lot in one pocket, but it's still like you can go to any country and you'll see it. So but it is really interesting. And it's just, it's cool because it's, yeah, it might be more of a subculture, but you know what? Hey, subcultures are there's always going to be subcultures. And if it becomes one, hey, it kind of is one, I guess you would say already, what I mean? Classic style, it's already a subculture. So we'll just embrace it and keep going at it. And I think the more people see how individual it can be, how you can really, truly express yourself, because people think, oh, a guy in a suit looks the same, but obviously not. If you actually see, classic style, it's like, no, definitely not the case. You can, and it's funny because if someone's like, oh, you guys all look the same, you're wearing a t-shirt and jeans like everyone else. So, it's not like it's any different. And so once they see how individual and fun it can be, and it doesn't have to be the stuffy thing where you have to have exact rules and it be a total uniform, like in the military, once they see that, I think more people are willing to embrace it because they're like, this actually can be fun. That's one of the reasons I got into it, because I was in the cosplay before. I dress up like a Roman or a Greek imatio, and I'd be like, I wish guys could dress like this because women, they can do whatever they want, and guys, we all look the same. And then I realized, oh, no, this can be pretty crispy. So yeah, I don't know. I
totally agree with you. I think the whole creative spin is part of the fun of it, for sure. And it was kind of tying back to what you said earlier about like what you represent. You represent your country, you represent your family, and like this sartorial thing we've got. It's like a brotherhood. It's we all recognize each other when you see each other in the street. It's like we share this passion, we share this thing, right? That can bring us together, even though we're all different backgrounds and nationalities, and all of us in this chat are from different countries, and we all do have our own distinct spin or take on style and tailoring, and and you go out and you represent this thing of ours, in each in our own different ways, for sure.
Yeah.
And this point on tribalism also is great to describe the feeling when you see someone wearing like a great suit and so on, realizing he's one of us.
Yep.
That's the cool thing about this. Yeah, it's international tribalism, something like this.
Yeah. And if you do have the chance to talk to that person, you have something to talk about. And you know what I mean? Like, so if you did see someone, like, let's say it was a woman and not a guy, but I saw someone in Gurkha trousers in Greece when I was in Nafplio, and I was like, Gurkhas. And my all friends make memes of me with Gurkha trouser related memes because I keep talking about them. But like, if I see a dude in Gurkhas, it's like, I know I could have a conversation with this guy about, because it's a detail that you're not just going to find that at, Walmart or whatever, it's like, you actually have to kind of be into this culture to understand it and to get it. So it is really cool. Yeah, it always is awesome just to know that they're out there, and it's kind of like that. When you see each other, it's just kind of just like a subtle nod.
This vibe. Yep. You look at them in the eyes and you give them the nod, and they give you the nod. You're like, yes, it's cool, right?
And then, and Dimitri, you will love Florence and Pity, but because let's be honest, Shaban, Sam, and I we met at Pity Woman in Florence.
You lucky bastards.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, because that is one place I was with Benjamin from Sartorial Talks or Sartorial Styles. He was like, you know what, we're gonna go to PT, and then that thing happened and it closed down. I went, oh, doggone it, of course, right when I want to go, but hopefully someday, because I mean, it just seems so. I love it. I absolutely love it. What a vibe. What a vibe it'd be.
Yeah, I think when you're saying how you walk past another guy too, and like you're like, hey, like you notice like, oh, he's dressed well. I always notice they look at my shoes.
Oh yes,
yeah,
like, because someone can be like, oh, I have a really nice suit, but like if they've got these square-toed like lame ass shoes or like real loud socks happening, like. It sort of kills it. I always find I follow their eyes and it goes boom to the shoes. And that's how you can tell if they're a real menswear guy to me. Like, it's
right.
Is there any other garment you like see and instantly know that this person is into it? Like the shoes, Gurkha trousers, obviously.
Watches.
Pardon?
The what?
Shoes in general, like good welted shoes. Okay. Wristwatch.
Yeah, definitely. You can tell so much. Like, people come into me and they could spend like $199 on a shirt or $2,500 on like a premium fabric suit type of thing. If they walk in casually dressed, you don't want to misjudge somebody and think, oh, maybe they're not going to buy anything off me or something. The quickest way to look is at their watch. Boom. Yep, this guy's got a Rolex Pepsi. Let's go push the fucking expensive fabric on them. Oh, he doesn't. He's got like a little, G-Shock or something. Okay, let's take it easy, see how we go. You can tell a lot by those type of things, I would say. It sounds snobbish, but it's just actually resourcefulness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not judging them on it. I'm just sort of knowing where they are,
Exactly. And talking about the shoes, I've definitely noticed that because I know that a lot of the menswear guys will be like, oh, if the women look at the shoes first, and I knew that was true, but it's definitely the same with dudes.
It is.
Homies will be looking at your shoes because I was one time I was in Birmingham. It's a city in Michigan, and I was this guy walked by. Don't remember his shirt at all. It was plain jeans, nice jeans, I guess. I don't know, but he was wearing the most crispy, like derbies I've ever seen. They were like they looked like Berluti, and I think they were Berluti, and just this so shine to perfection. This cognac brown and this gorgeous patina, hand painted, going through, and he just walked by. It was 2 seconds, but it's still been ingrained in my head for years, and I remember just going. And just watching them go by, and it was like seeing a McLaren F1 drive by, like where you just I can't believe it. And then when I'd be walking around and stuff, I'll be wearing something kind of plain, but I've noticed some of the dudes, if they're sitting eating and I walk by, they look at the shoes, and I went, yep, it really is the shoes. I mean, you can be wearing jeans and a t-shirt, and if you got nice shoes on, it's really gonna make the look pop. But if you got a suit on with shit shoes, then it ruins the whole thing. It really does go from the ground up.
Yeah.
It's like a seal of approval from another guy, the shoes.
Yep.
You know what I do? This is my spin, right? I've discovered this in the last year or so, right? You probably can't tell too much right now, but on my Instagram for sure is my thing is I do tailoring. Nicholas will know this. Tailoring is but with a cowboy twist. I do tailoring with like a Wild West look. So I wear a lot of 2-3-piece suits. But what I do is I wear them with a lot of cowboy boots, and I wear them with cowboy hats. And it's, cowboy belts, and it's become my thing, It's just, this is where I'm going with my own journey in the style. There's like Native American kind of Wild Western influence and mixing it in with tailoring. And I don't dress corporately. I just do it all for fun. And this is just, I have so much fun with it. And as if you didn't stand out enough in a 3-piece suit, all sprezzatura out with your pockets. I had a cowboy hat to the top and some nice shiny boots. And it's just kind of crazy. And this is what I always find. It's like the guys are, they eyeing you up top to bottom in sometimes judgmental fashion, especially the older guys, actually. And, they look at the shoes and they're like, damn. And you know what? It's the younger guys that aren't into this at all, right? I'll tell you this, here especially, right? All the streetwear guys, they care about shoes, right? Shoes, Nikes and Adidas and all Off-Whites, they're shoe people, right? For sure. And this is where we vibe, right? They've got tracksuits on and like their fancy streetwear shoes, and I've got a 3-piece suit on and my fancy shoes. And it's like, there's this one thing that we both kind of like vibe on. It's like they always look at my shoes. I'm walking past and I'm always hearing whispers, and they're nudging to their friends and like, oh man, look at his shoes. Like, he's got nice shoes. And that's where I'm like, yes, man. I'm like, okay, thank you. We can appreciate this one thing, we've got completely different things going on here, but it's the shoes that they recognize, and the appreciation is there. And I'm like, you know what? I can respect you for caring about your shoes and taking care of them. Even though we've got streetwear and it's completely different vibe going on, I always see the younger guys and the shoes is the big thing.
Yeah, I think there's a huge symbolism to shoes too, and it's always been there. Like you look too at, I think what really draws people to shoes too is that one, it's super practical. It really is a practical piece, and if you can get a practical piece elaborate, there's some kind of satisfaction from that. You know what I mean? When something can be so practical yet so beautiful, and that technically is the old definition of what art is. It's tech. It's craft with something that is useful. It's not like separate from technology back in the day. So it is kind of the definition of art in the old world sense. And you look at like shoes in the medieval days, and they had like they were super long and skinny, and the aristocrats would wear them, and they said they were like that because they didn't need shoes with good traction or good, it symbolized, I don't have to work out in the fields, I can wear these, right? And I think there's that, and I think for me, that's what the kind of symbolism drew me more to what style of shoe I wear than the actual style itself, I think, because I used to hate loafers. I was like, I was like, why do they cost so much, but it's less shoe than a normal shoe? I'm like, that makes no sense. But then I really started to gravitate towards them, and that's pretty much almost all I wear are loafers. I friggin' love them. And I think too, aside from it, because it symbolized to me, I went, oh yeah, it's kind of like relaxing. It's like very vacation like. It's not very work like, it's just like, I'm on vacation. You're just sitting back, you're on the beach. It's something, you can wear to the beach sockless, and it reminds me of the summer, warm climates, and I think that's what drew me to it. But do you guys find with yourselves that like you gravitate towards a certain shoe, and do you know why, aside from the style, but maybe what it kind of represents to you? Do you have that at all?
I'm definitely still at the stage of hating loafers. But I do love closed lacing, so I'm an Oxford guy. I do really exclusively own Oxfords and one pair of Balmoral boots which is basically the Oxford style boot. I do have one pair of derbies, but this is just for casual wear, when I don't know, doing handiwork, I don't know, going grocery shopping and so on. So I'm an Oxford guy, and I think I like the formality. I also tend to buy shoes that do have a very conservative last. I do really love Allen Edmonds. I hear that they are pretty basic in the US, but really difficult to get your hands on a pair in Germany. But I found out that I love the shape. I love the quality. They really fit my feet. So yeah, that's about it.
I used to wear exclusively Chelsea boots. That's all I wore for like 2-3 years straight. Because the weather here, it's always cold, it's always rainy. So I guess maybe it's a British thing, right? Just slip your shoe in Chelsea boots every single time. And it wasn't until my style gravitated towards more influenced by the Italians, right? Especially, Milan and from PT. And now I'd say I more have like an Italian style, with the suits and the breaking up of the suits. And I do that with the Western thing, right? But a lot of the influence was from the Italians, and all they do is wear loafers. And I guess it's the same sense to me, where I hated them at first. I was like, this is just a wee slip on. It looks flimsy. And I thought loafers were always kind of feminine, right? You get a lot of the female shoes, the slip-ons are, they're like the loafers, right? I thought they were kind of feminine. I was like, nah, I'm doing this whole macho classic gentleman thing. They don't look very cool. And then I was like, nah, I just started seeing all the Italian gents were wearing them, the cropped trousers and the no socks. And I was like, nah, this is cool. And you buy your first loafer, then you buy your second. And you know what? Now, exclusively, all I do is wear loafers. Loafers and cowboy boots. That's my contrast now.
Hell yeah, dude.
That's it.
Sam, what's your stance on loafers?
Love them.
Oh, damn.
Mine's look. I like the lace ups as well. Don't get me wrong. I think Shaban hit it right. You just slip your foot into it. There's no wasting time with the laces, and every stooge has the double monks these days, but not everybody has the loafers. You know what I'm saying? Not that us menswear guys, we might think everyone has loafers, but not in the real world. Yeah. So I love them. I love suede shoes as well. Like brown suede shoes are pretty cool. I really like. I was thinking, what do I have? It's like, it's sort of one of each type of thing, like a black pair and a brown pair of loafers, a black pair and a brown pair of lace up. So trying to cover it all off, but I mean, where I struggle more is really like to become more casual. And like, I wish that I could wear a pair of Vans sneakers with a suit, like a lot of these like streetorial menswear guys do, and maybe a baseball cap with a suit. And maybe I will do that one day. But I feel like I've sort of committed to not combining these things. Maybe I'm too stuck in the rules, Nicholas, to do that. But I like that too. I like it. I'm not against it. I just don't do it myself. But I think it's pretty cool when guys do that and pull it off well. But it's rarely done well, to be honest. Rarely is it done well. So you've got a pair of tennis shoes, big deal. That was 5 years ago. I want to see people pulling off Doc Martens, Vans. I want to see things like that be worn with a suit. Stan Smith sneakers. It doesn't impress me. As I said, that was 5 years ago. So what? You've got common projects. It's Stan Smith's in another color. I'd like to see the sneakers sort of. I don't know. There's that sneaker that's blended with a you've seen it. The guys, a lot of the black guys in Italy wear it, like that are into menswear. It's like a sneaker made of leather, and it's like the leather that's normally used for menswear shoes.
Yeah.
But they're sort of gross. Like I'm not that. Yeah, I don't think they've been embraced by the sartorial world, to be honest. But there's probably some developments within that space that will change and probably be good. I don't know what they are yet, though.
It's like casualizing everything, right? We've already got nice shoes. We've got loafers. We've got derbies. There's plenty to choose from. But like, there's this thing now where we're casualizing things, and then we've got the sneaker hybrid of the dress shoes, and it's kind of trending. And do you know what I'm personally seeing trending, which I kind of find interesting, right? Is the baseball hats. Specifically on Instagram, I'm seeing a lot of the guys from the Asian countries,
Asia.
And they're wearing a lot of the base. It's kind of interesting. I kind of like it. I don't know what you guys think, but I kind of like it. It's like mixing. It's a casualization. I think Simon Compton, he's been kind of doing it as well. What do you think? I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's good. I think it's interesting. I mean, like, listen, skin cancer is one of the biggest killers down here in Australia, and it's extremely important to wear a hat. Like, for practicality, it is really important. And you want me to walk down the street in Melbourne with this suit and a Borsalino or a Stetson hat on? It's like a big statement, This is a pity outfit, not just a daily outfit. Whereas you put that baseball cap on, I feel like. Did you guys ever watch Prison Break, the TV show Prison Break? Yeah, Michael Scofield, when he escapes from prison, he has this outfit, and it's like this white suit. It's like this white sort of cream suit, and he puts this baseball hat on to hide his identity. But it was like, that is exactly what these Japanese guys and stuff and Korean guys are obsessed with. And these dweeby guys in America have been doing it for years. They're copying Ivy League style. That's where it comes from. Yeah, they're copying it. It's American.
However,
Demetrios, take some credit, baby.
However, the suit fit of the Korean guys is much better.
Oh,
okay, yes, sure, okay.
It's funny.
Yeah, they're obsessed.
Yeah, I've read that Japanese and Korean like menswear, like classic menswear, is pretty much an evolution of Ivy League, like American Ivy League style. I read that somewhere. I don't know if it's BS or not, but I can see it, and they're kind of taking on the tradition that here in the U.S. most people have just abandoned. So it does live on, but just in Asia, and it's actually really cool. I started to like it, and with the baseball caps, I'm not a hat guy because my hair just gets too crazy if I take it off. But I was like, you know what? I really want to see if I can get my hands in a nice, like, classic dad cap, as we call it here, and just wear it with a jacket or something. It just, to me, that is one thing that will totally casualize your outfit. Like that. It's so easy to do it. So I'm gonna try it out. I want to experiment, see how I like it, and I think I will. And I don't think I'll be wearing it.
Seems to me like they do it with like a few little adjustments too. Like you probably wouldn't wear it with like what I'm wearing now. You lose the vest, lose the tie, and then do it type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like yeah. There's some other little things that go with it, I suppose, that like you may change your shoes, like I said, to a sneaker. Maybe it'll make you pull off the sneaker better too.
Yeah, it would, like, you can do it with a sneaker. I think a casual style loafer can work with it. If you wear a t-shirt with a jacket, I actually do that a lot with this one. I'll wear it with like this green t-shirt that I got, And I know some people are like, "Oh, don't wear a t-shirt with a jacket." I don't give a shit. I'm like, I'm gonna do it, especially if it's like, 35 degrees Celsius out there. See, I did it. And it's like, yeah, I'm gonna wear a t-shirt. But with a baseball cap, it's like, yeah, I think it looks cool. That's to me a good blend between classic and sartorial styles, and it's kind of cool, and it's not like it's a baseball cap. It's like,
Exactly. It's nothing special or revolutionary, We're talking about it as if it's the next fucking a SpaceX thing that's been invented too, like it's just a baseball cap. But combined with this shit that's existed for years, it creates something new when you mix it with that. Much like music, you get these two things, blend them together, you get something else. And I think that's probably where it's at,
Yeah.
Baker boys aren't too far off from a baseball cap. It's the fabric's different. It's not actually too far off. This is what I wear them backwards, just for it gives it a bit of a sporty touch. A bit of
and that's your touch. That's your flair on it too. That's the Shaban way of wearing it too.
Just a bit of sportiness, a bit of fun, a bit of casual playfulness. So I guess if you're doing the baseball cap thing, it can be that bit of a sporty touch.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that the hat that you've got on, Shaban, is like less of a trend. Like people were wearing that 100 years ago. They weren't wearing a New York Yankees hat. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, I'm a modern revolutionary. Whereas I see your hat, and yes, you've got it on backwards. You're wearing it in a different way, and you've got a cool outfit on and all. But it is still classic to me, even like you're styling it in a different way. Still classic. Whereas that, like the baseball cap, I don't consider it a traditional classic item. You never sort of saw it. But it's cool, because it's so fucking boring menswear that whenever I see this sort of stuff, I always want to encourage it because, like, why not? Like you said, like it'd be different, man. You've got to have a crack, and sometimes we hit the mark, sometimes we get it wrong, and I've got it wrong many times over the years. By wearing things that are not a great fit or not perfect for my complexion, or a tie that doesn't go with the shirt or whatever. But that's how you figure out what the right combinations are.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So guys, I have one more point on my list I really want to talk about this evening with you, which is the current suit supply ad campaign. Maybe you had a chance to look at it. I will use my magic powers here to like show it on stream. This is I guess the main ad picture from the campaign, and there's this one. What do you think about it?
Is that drool? Is that drool hanging off?
Sartorial
I don't want to know what that is.
I think so. Yeah.
It's some bodily fluid.
Yeah, there was already a lot of discussion, because of the ad campaign. I think they nailed the last ones. What do you think about this one?
It was a big uproar, huge uproar. Everyone was just, there was it was a big controversy. There was people that loved it, people that thought it was an abomination, an insult, and you read all the comments, all the posts, and you hear a lot of things. I think there was more. I was seeing more, a negative backlash to this. Like what we were saying earlier. Like this is our thing. This is a thing of ours. It's a tribal thing, and you have someone that's big in the industry that's coming in and turning heads and like changing that, and then everyone's questioning it and being like, "Oh, why are you ruining this thing of ours?" Or like, I don't know. What do you think? Like, I'm also just gonna grab my laptop charger. I can still hear you. I don't want this going out.
All right.
Look, I think it's you go first, Demetrios.
No. Yeah, actually, you go. Yeah.
Look, I think any publicity is good publicity, and they're not idiots. When they did their campaign with two gay men kissing, a couple of years ago, they did a campaign.
That was genius, in my opinion.
It wasn't as sexualized as that, but like it definitely got people talking, and whether or not we like it, it's very smart marketing. they're definitely not the first to do that either. Like Tom Ford, Versace, they've all had like extremely sexual campaigns in the past. So it's honestly it's nothing new. They're just doing it in a conservative, very conservative sort of area of fashion and style, which is your sort of more formal menswear. Do I like it? I don't know. I don't really know if I like it or not. I suppose yes, because I'm a marketing guy and I love marketing and I love seeing these ideas, and we're talking about it right now. If it was just a normal campaign, like a photo from Italy or something with a guy, going like this and touching his pockets, you wouldn't even look at it. But because they've done that, we're now talking about it, and it's probably what I would call success. That's the aim of the marketing.
Yeah, Dimitri?
Okay, so I was already like kind of iffy. I have my first good suit was Suit Supply, but lately I was like, you know what? I don't know how I feel about them. I went on the site and saw that, and I just thought, okay, Sam, you're absolutely right. We're talking about it, so it's obviously, any publicity is good publicity. But for me, I was like, one, this is tasteless as shit. The whole campaign is shit. And I said, that's not what I want to look at when I go. Like, it was really like, like, fuck, dude. I don't want to see that when I'm trying to look for a fucking suit. Sorry. I'm just like, it really, I'm not trying to be a prude or nothing, but I was like, it was not tasteful. It was gross. And I think lazy. If we want to talk about, it's marketing, but it's lazy marketing, because it's like, okay, if that's all you can come up with, no shit, people are going to talk about really sexual, getting STD, and
the shock value is what they're after.
Yeah. And it was like, to me, that's rookie. Like that's going to create a lot of talk. But to be honest, I was kind of like, I gave them the middle finger, and I'm like, all right, I'm there's other suit brands already there, like Pliny, Pliny Parma, and there's all these brands that are starting to compete, and I saw it as desperate. I know they did this before, but you're getting more and more brands that are coming out that are producing quality for a very competitive price. So for them to do this, to me, it was like, okay, well, we don't kind of need you anymore. There's a lot of great suit brands out there now. So to me, I'm like, well, because I like what the suit represents, and I don't like the idea of, I don't want the image in people's heads of classic menswear equals orgy, gross, like I don't know, irresponsible bullshit. I don't know. I might sound like a prude saying that, but I don't care. But it's like, it's not what I like the idea of the suit to represent. And it's like, I can go somewhere else now. So, because already, like Tagliatore, which I'm wearing, they have jackets that are and suits that are very similar in style to Suit Supply, but they're made all in Italy. Unlike Suit Supply, yes, they're nice looking factories in China, but still in China. So they are they're doing it there because it's cheaper, right? But Tagliatore, it's all designed. Everything is made in Italy, and it's around the same price. And they look great, and to be honest, they feel better. I like the fit of them better. They're much more comfortable. And so it's like, I guess for me, but I'm just one guy. But I went like that to Suit Supply. So I'm not a big fan of it, as you can tell. Not totally into it. But it does, again, create talk. But if you keep doing it, like they already did it, and they're doing it again, and it's like, are you just going to be that loud kid that whenever the attention is off of you, you just like flash people? Like, that's, I don't know. It's kind of the equivalent, and it's like, it's more obnoxious to me, I guess.
Yeah, I have to be honest. I don't care that much about the ad campaign itself. I'm more concerned or sad about the actual pieces they offer now, because I'm more into the vintage aesthetic, and this actually is a Suit Supply suit. I was always really happy that I've found things at Suit Supply that really spoke to me. And with all this jogging pants in suit fabric stuff, it's getting worse every season. So yeah, that's my bummer on Suit Supply, on the new, on the new fashion stuff from them.
Yeah. I know Gentleman's Gazette did a really in-depth video on Suit Supply, and it wasn't the most positive either. Like I said, they're still good. I think the jackets and stuff, they're still good, but I feel like maybe they're not as good as they used to be, or it's just because people are knowing more and more about suits and jackets. Maybe people are a little bit more I don't know, critical about these little things, and I don't know. But I wonder where they're going to be and why they decide to do this. I think part of it was desperation, to be honest, because literally all these videos started coming out on like Suit Supply alternatives better than Suit Supply, and it's like, okay, they're kind of pushing. And then Alpha M did a video on Suit Supply, and it actually got a lot of backlash because people were like, this is just an ad. They just paid you to do, and it felt like very ad-like. So that already, it's like, all right, they reached out to an influencer, and it actually created backlash. Then they did this, and it's creating a lot of backlash. So, yeah, I really do wonder how well they're going to fare. I have no idea.
Yeah. So, I'd like to thank all the live chat participants for being here and open, a round of discussion. So, if you have any questions to one in the round or all of us, just fire at will. I already saw a question. I want to point to Sam because you brought the wristwatch topic up, and I don't know anything about wristwatches. What's your favorite watch brand?
Me, Rolex. It sounds like a sort of standard answer, I know, but it's because I have one. And look, I'm not a massive watch guy, to be honest. I'm much more about the suits and the shoes. I have one nice watch, and I don't have any other watches. I don't have a shitty Daniel Wellington or something else like that as a backup. I just have this one. And even when I go to Italy and stuff, I don't even bring it with me because I'm worried about the gypsies and getting mugged and stuff over there. So I don't bring it with me. But to be honest, when somebody asks me for the time these days, I look at my phone and don't really look at my watch. So I see it as a piece of jewelry rather than a piece of functionality. But I'll tell you what, there's a couple that I love. I'd love to have, if I won the lottery one day, I'd love to have a Cartier tank. Do you know that watch? It's like a sort of more rectangular shape with a nice black crocodile skin band or something like that. That would be cool. The other ones I think are pretty good. I like Omega and a couple of other ones. But yeah, you're never going to see me in some sort of $50,000 Panerai watch or something like that. Yeah, I think it's an absolute waste of money. But something that's sort of like 1,000 to like 15,000. Yeah, it's a good idea if you can afford it.
Cool. Shaban, are you into wristwatches or like?
I am big into wristwatches. I actually used to buy and sell them on eBay. I used to flip watches for a while.
Nice.
It became a bit of a rabbit hole. I watched a lot of videos and I started, subscribing to channels on YouTube or watch channels, and I really became kind of obsessed about it. I was just like, oh, this is a fascinating world. It's so in depth. There's so much, like suits. There's so much craftsmanship and artisanship that goes into watchmaking, and it's crazy. It's probably even more crazy than just suit culture. You can really, really go in depth, and to see all the workers do it all, it's insane. So I'm into watches. I've got a big box behind me there somewhere. I have a few Omegas, and I think my favorite watch is going to be, I have a vintage Jaeger LeCoultre.
Oh,
so yeah. For me,
is it watches.
It's not. I'll see if I can pull it out in a second when the next person talks. It's a vintage. It's just got sub-seconds. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. I'll show it to you. I have a Omega Constellation, but For me, it's always vintage watches because I have a very small, skinny wrist. I can't get away with the big 40 mil modern watches and things of those nature. So, and I think vintage watches go nicely with my aesthetic. I like something that you can slip under the cuff of your dress shirt. It's more thin and elegant, and I prefer those kind of pieces. So I found vintage was good, but also you can find them for much, much cheaper prices than going to your local AD and paying, modern prices. If you know what you're looking for and you've done your research, you really can, go on auctions. And I bought a lot of mine from eBay, from trusted sellers. And if you know what you're looking for, you can find bargains. And like you say about Cartier, I was looking for a Cartier for a while, but I ended up buying a vintage Piaget instead.
Beautiful.
Dimitri, do you own
guess
any?
what happened?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, guess what happened to it?
What?
The minute hand fell off. So I need to go and take it and get it serviced. Yeah, it's a beautiful watch. It's really nice, but the minute hand fell off after passing around and walking around. I don't know what happened to it. It just fell off. So I need to go and get it serviced, and they need to stick the minute hand back on. But apart from that, vintage, I'd say, is the way for anyone that's wanted to get into watches. Have a look at vintage watches. You can find some extraordinary brands for great value.
Dimitri, do you own any wristwatches?
Yeah, so I pretty much only I got an Orient Bambino version 2. I freaking love this thing. I wear this like probably 95% of the year, and then the other 5% I wear in the summer. It is a Citizen that my grandfather gave me. So it's got a lot of it's got value to it personally for me, and it's a nice watch. Never had to get it serviced in years and years. I got it like almost 10 years ago. So when I turned 18, so it was like, it's a nice, nice watch. So those two are the only ones I wear. I was though really starting to get into watches because these things are amazing. I love it's such insanely beautiful pieces of art. And especially mechanical watches, not, because it's a thing of wonder. And so I was getting into them, but then I realized that I would be broke within a month if I really just let myself go. So I said, once, things get financially better, then I might get into watches, only because I can see myself going down that rabbit hole. I like, my favorite watch is it's a little bit of a basic bitch answer, but it's Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. Freaking love that thing. I used to hate it, but now I just absolutely love it. And Christian from Theo and Harris, when he down in Atlanta, he brought one, and I got to hold one, and it was just the most beautiful thing seeing it in real life. And so that, I love Gégé Lecoutre. I freaking love the Reversos. Just that beautiful watch. My dad has an old vintage. I forget the brand. It's a really, really respected watch brand, but it's like this small because it's vintage. The actual watch's face is like that big, and it's rectangular. And it was my other grandfather's watch, and it's so cool. I love this, just like Shaban. I love the vintage watches, smaller. I like the smaller sizes, but yeah, I was looking at Squale Atmos 50. Like, it's a diver, and that thing is just, oh my gosh, just eye candy. And I was that was when I was saving up for it, but then I went, you know what, I'm going to wait on this a little bit. Yeah, just beautiful, beautiful. And and then I like German Bauhaus watches. Like, I love Nomos, the Glashütte. What else is it?
Glashütte.
Junker. Yeah. Better pronunciation.
Yeah, no.
I just butchered it. I'm sorry. Totally just butchered
the one thing I can point with, because after the loafers, I'm again the odd one out because I don't own any wristwatches, and I can't. I don't see myself buying one, at least not for to wear it, just for an investment and look at it at some points. But yeah,
pocket watch
guy. Theoretically, yes, but I just have like 2 or 3. I put it's mainly because of the pocket watch chains, for stylish reasons. But like Sam, even if I have a pocket watch with me, I still look on my mobile for the time. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think the other one is Seiko watches are quite good value. You know, the Grand Seiko. A lot of like menswear guys go for that if you don't have the budget for something like from Switzerland. So that's another one that people always recommend in the menswear world. If you want to spend like $1,000, the Grand Seiko is like a really good entry level, like premium watch. But like Shaban said, my Rolex is a 1989, and my dad bought it for me as a 21st present, and like I tell you how much it was. It was 3,000 Australian dollars, which is about 4,000 American maybe, and it's valued at 14,000. So if you get vintage, it's like something you'll probably have forever and probably will go up in time if you look after it. The only problem is it costs $1,000 to get serviced.
Huh.
That's my Jaeger filter.
Right.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
Okay.
It's hard to tell, but it's got this really
Beautiful.
cool leather strap on it. It's got these wee adjustment bits and bobs. I get a little pleasure
Yeah,
just waking up in the morning and like winding it. It's very satisfactory.
Yeah.
You know, this makes a nice noise. That's just the fun of it.
Yeah, nice.
Beautiful. Yeah, manual wind watches is something that I really was hoping to get into because too you can get away with having a thinner watch, and that's what my dad's vintage watches. It's from the 50s, and it's
Wow.
hand wound, and it's just so much fun to just wind that thing back and just hear it. And then, yeah. Really cool, though.
Yeah,
Cool.
great.
I like your story though. I like how you've kept that for so many years, and you're probably not going to sell it. But I like that you can pass it on. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. My dad, he owns it right now. He wears it, and then when he's ready, it'll probably be passed to me, and then I hopefully I can pass it on to my kids if I have any. And so it's just it's cool. It's tradition, And with watches, thank you. Yeah, here it is. Thanks, Ed. But it's actually right here. So it's
Nice.
let's see. It's a little hard to. Let me see if I can focus here.
What's the brand?
But it's a small. Let's see. It's Longines. So it's
nice.
yeah. So, but I mean, that thing is so small compared to mine. But it's I love the size. It's just so nice and small, and something passed down, which is really cool. But if I can find one, like I'd buy even another vintage. I'd buy a vintage watch myself because it's like like what you said, Sam. I mean, it's especially considering the brand and how well you take care of it. I mean, it's an investment piece, and and you can use it. My uncle was telling me with Rolex too. A lot of watches they use for actually use it like money when going overseas. If they can't bring enough overseas with them, a certain amount of money, if you have a watch that costs 25, 50,000, use that for currency. So it's so interesting.
Yeah, like Chinese people.
Yeah,
Chinese people are big tourists in Australia, pre-COVID, and they had some limit. Like I think there's like the most amount of billionaires in the world are all in Beijing, and it's actually not that far from Australia, same time zone and stuff. So they come here as tourists, and exactly what you're talking about, Demetrios. They're limited to spend like $20,000 a day. That's like they actually can't spend more than that. So they will come in with $50,000 watches and things like that, and they have their ways of doing it. So the government doesn't find out. Usually through Hong Kong or Singapore, but it's a smart
right. Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on with a question. I do have one for Sam specifically. Which footy club are you rooting for? Are you rooting for any?
Yeah, Collingwood, of course, the Magpies, baby.
Cool. Then I have one for Shaban mainly because Kyle is from UK too. Where would you guys recommend getting suits from? Pretty basic one. I don't know.
Good question. For me personally, if you're wanting to invest, I think we can all say this, right? Is buy quality. Don't buy off the high street if you can avoid it. And I think my big thing, especially for the younger guys, is they think you need hundreds and hundreds of pounds, thousands of pounds to buy a nice suit, buy a quality suit. My thing is, I think definitely, Nicholas, you're going to agree with this, hopefully, is like go vintage.
Of course.
Just go vintage. Find some vintage stores nearby you. I've got a few which I go to in my city, Glasgow, or just go on eBay. Find some sellers that are selling vintage suits. You're going to get a beautiful cloth, a quality cloth. The stitching is going to be hand done. The shoulders can be hand done. You're going to get beautiful buttons, working cuffs. You know, the sartorial details are going to be hopefully there. You know, high rise trousers, pleats, cuffs. You know, as long as you know your measurements, you know, your chest, your shoulder, your arm, get them figured out. Go on eBay, go on some apps, go on some vintage stores, try things on. Just go vintage. You're going to get much better value. You're going to get much better quality, and you know what? You're gonna save so much money. And it's like, just do that. If you can't do bespoke, if you can't afford bespoke, if you can't afford made to measure, which would be the ideal world, if you have the budget for that, obviously do that if you can do it. But if you can't do that, I think the next best thing is avoid the high street. Just go vintage. Get a beautiful fabric. Get something that's unique. You're not going to find these checks and these colors and these. You're not going to really find them on the high street. You're going to stand out. You're going to be, you know, a stylistic statement. You're going to have something that's individual. You're not going to see someone else down the street wearing it. It's going to be for you, you know. And just go and build a relationship with a tailor and create a relationship with a tailor. Get it tailored to fit you. You're going to have a one-off spectacular piece. You're going to save so much money. There is one brand I will recommend. Well, two brands. I'll say in London, there's a store called Thomas Farthing.
Yeah.
You know it. They've got a fantastic website. I think their made-to-measure stuff is exceptional. Their details are stunning. Really nice fabrics, and their Instagram is actually really cool. They have really good promotional campaigns. They put so much effort into it. But Thomas Farthing, and the other brand I'll recommend in the UK is going to be Walker Slater. They do a lot of stuff with tweeds, fantastic for our weather. They've got nice linen stuff. Yeah, just really nice fabrics, really nice choices, and like lots of colors. So yeah, Thomas Farthing and Walker Slater. Otherwise, I'd say really experiment and explore vintage.
Yeah, I put the links in the live chat. Nothing to add there. Cool. Daniel asks every one of us, how would you describe your style? Sam? Yeah, that's a difficult one. But...
Okay, yeah, probably describe my style. I hate to use this word. I really hate it. Dapper? I hate that word, but it's my Instagram handle too, and I'm stuck with it now pretty much. But yeah, perhaps that's what Australian people would say. So yeah, dapper.
Cool. Shaban, something, you know, incorporating the cowboy shoe and cowboy hat stuff?
I'd say it's weird. I'm in the UK. You'd think maybe I'd say something like British or, you know, conservative or following. I've gone like completely the other direction. I've gone away from all that. I'd say Italian flair, playfulness, you know, with a Western cowboy twist. I'd say that'd be quite accurate.
Dimitri?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe like Italian or Neapolitan street sartorial. Like, you know, a lot of sartorial flares, but a lot of street style with it. So it's definitely something that I found. It's become more and more like I only gravitate towards certain things now, and so I think I can describe it better now. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Cool. So now about enough time to think about something myself, and I'd say I'm probably some kind of modernized Edwardian. I don't know. I do have a couple of true vintage suits, but most of it is like modern stuff, just styled in a different way or altered. So I guess some modernized Edwardian, maybe.
I like that, Edwardian. It's a good word. It's a nice sounding word. So
yeah, at first I always mentioned like the 1920s, but the late 1920s are a lot different from the early 1920s, and some people instantly think of those white trousers of the late 1920s, and I hate those. So I figured out that Edwardian or 1910s or something like this describes it a lot better what I like to wear. Cool. Let me look for the next question if we have any left. What are your guys' thoughts on wider fits coming into fashion nowadays? It hasn't really spilled into mainstream tailoring yet, but I hope it will. Thoughts? Didn't it?
Definitely, it's coming. I think it's coming. Exactly like you just said, Nick. The early 1920s was a sort of similar to like what you wear, more slim fit and classic cuts and stuff. But as it went from the late 20s to the 1940s, things just got so wide. And I think it was about making the man's body look more fuller. And we've really tapered the legs probably, I would say, too much over the last 10 years. And you know how you've watched the Michael Jordan documentary on Netflix. Have a look at the suits that they were wearing walking into the NBA games. They were so loose and they were so big, and even those guys were 7 foot tall. They were oversized on them. So you can imagine how fucking long and wide they are. That's gonna come back, you know what I mean? It's retro will always, work in a circle and come back. And I think it's coming, yeah. But the thing is with I think that Australian people see a suit like that, like a really loose fitting suit, where the knee measurement might be the same as the bottom of the trouser measurement, where it just hangs like a real straight drape. People see that as I think us four would probably say that, maybe not Nicholas, but us other three would see that as really cool and stylish and something different. But the average person sort of probably not willing to dip their toe in first, so to speak. So I think it'll come, but it's going to be led by like you were saying, the Walker Slaters, the Craftsman. It's not going to be Suit Supply that ushers that in. Yeah. It's probably not going to be Ralph Lauren.
Thomas
so
Farthing,
it will come, but slowly.
Thomas Farthing has some really, really wide cut trousers. So
correct, exactly, and they're echoing to those more vintage times in the 30s and 40s, with their Baker Boy hats and everything. So that's their aesthetic. So yeah, I think it's coming, but it needs time. Things take 5 years to develop into the menswear industry. So things like, if I have these trousers on, can you see the pleats, right? Mm-hmm. How long is it going to take for the average guy in Australia to have double pleats? It's not a big deal, but I think it's going to take 5 years for that to become mainstream, or maybe even longer. So the wide trousers, yeah, it's going to be at least 5 years.
Cool.
I'm seeing a big thing here there's a big, especially the younger people, right? There's a big resurgence here where I stay of 70s, 80s culture with the music and fashion, especially. Absolutely. So I'm already actually seeing jeans. I'm seeing so many wide cut jeans. I'm seeing, bootleg jeans. I'm seeing the flare jeans are becoming a thing, and
flares. It's kind of translating into. Are you seeing flares?
What's that?
I was about to ask you, are you seeing flares over there?
I am. I'm seeing flares. I'm actually seeing flares and funky glasses, and the whole 70s, 80s funky culture is a big thing over here, by the way, especially younger people. And I'm seeing a lot of that kind of being incorporated into suited culture. A lot of the baggy stuff's coming back here, and the oversized is coming back here, and loose and wide cut trousers are already actually a thing here. I'd say so. It's we had this whole skinny thing of the skinny lapels and the skinny trousers. Well, I think we've already caught up to it, and we've already abandoned that already. And the new thing is now oversized and baggy. So I'm already definitely seeing wide leg trousers here. So I don't think it'd be long until that spreads out everywhere else.
Cool.
That's good. Yeah.
I have a final question from, let's say, a good fairy. Is there a female in the sartorial community whose style and interpretation of classic wear you admire? I instantly have to say Sonia Glynn, of course. Love her stuff.
Yep.
Love her part on Sartorial Talks. Do you know another one, guys?
There's the woman that runs. I think her name is Luciana or Lucia. I can't pronounce it properly. She's part of the tailoring house in Madrid called Sastrería Serna. I'm making this up at the top of my head. I wish I had my phone on me. But it's a Spanish tailoring house. The woman that's in there, I think, has phenomenal style. I'm trying to find it on my phone. But what if there's anything else? Oh, because it's tailoring houses, Sasteria Serna. So the lady is in there. I think she has phenomenal style.
Cool.
I don't know. I don't really like the look of women, particularly in a suit. I think it doesn't sit as well on their chest because of their boobs. It sounds like really sexist, but I'm honestly just being honest with you. The way that a jacket drapes over a man's chest is much better. The suit is designed actually for a man's body to masculate and make the shoulders look accentuated, come in at the waist, taper out at the seat, and then look slick through the legs and make you look taller. So there's a really good movie that came out on Amazon called, what's it called? I Care a Lot, I think it is. It's an American film. I don't know if you've seen it. And this woman wears like yellow double-breasted suits and like red and orange with like a white t-shirt. And she looks fucking awesome. But she's definitely not wearing a tie. She's definitely not wearing a shirt. It's like, a t-shirt under it. And she looks unbelievably good in them. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful outfits.
Dimitri, anything? Anyone?
Yeah, I'd say Sonia. Sonia is just like, she's one of the few women I've seen pull it off like flawlessly, and she's just like, I love her and Hugo at sartorial talks. I just freaking love it. So yeah, but her, that's the first one that comes to my mind is Sonia.
Okay, guys.
What is her name? Sonia?
Sorry? Sonia Glynn. Yeah. Sonia with a Y.
Yep.
Yeah. Well.
Sonia Glynn. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. This is the Parisian gentleman's missus.
Yes.
Okay. But let's see a woman get there on her own. You know what I mean? I see this woman. Yeah, she's good. But to me, her boobs are so big. Honestly, it ruins the look.
I think she pulls it off.
I think that
great.
I like her effort, and I like that she's having a crack at it. But I
Sam just doesn't like it. Sam's not a fan. He just doesn't.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, this looks pretty good.
I think. Yeah.
Is this a good outfit right here?
Yeah. It's empowering. It's like bold. I don't know. I love it. I think it's cool to see. I think this could be like an entire other discussion is like women's wear and tailoring. It's becoming such a big thing. You're seeing the Rake magazine are talking about it a lot, and I think it's awesome. I think it's good to see. It's not just for us guys. It's I think it's awesome. I was going to say earlier, Ralph Lauren. If you want to see women in suits, go to Ralph Lauren and look at their Instagram.
Yeah, I'm not into it, guys. I'll put that out there.
Okay, guys. Okay. Let's wrap it up right here. Let's wrap it up right here. Shaban, Dimitri, Sam. Yeah, I think we got it. Sam, you don't like it.
Thank you.
Shaban, Dimitri, Sam.
I like it, but she's having a crap.
Thank you so much for being here, especially Sam for getting up that early. It's like still, 7 a.m. right now.
What a Chad.
It was a great pleasure.
7 a.m. The sun's out now, Steve.
Yeah.
It started pitch black before, so yeah, no worries, my man, no worries.
Okay, so any final thoughts, Shaban, before I,
Final thoughts. To anyone else watching this, if you're starting your sartorial journey, especially, just go for it, embrace it. Forget what anyone else is going to think of you, what people in the street are going to say, the looks you get. Just do it. Find some inspirations. Just soak everything in. Take your time with it. Make your mistakes. Just embrace it and do it, and you'll find your own journey. It's going to take you a few years. Have fun with it. Enjoy it. It should be something that you enjoy doing, and it should enhance your life. Have fun with it, and just go for it. That's my final words.
Cool. Dimitri?
You know what? I think first, thank you for having this, Nicholas. This is awesome. So honored to be here, and it's my first time meeting Shaban and Sam. You guys are freaking awesome. We're definitely gonna have to do this sometime, hopefully soon again, because this was a blast. But I guess if I could give advice, I like what Shaban said. Yeah, have fun with it. Don't worry. You're going to make mistakes. That's A-okay. Look at my early Instagram and you'll want to vomit. But I keep it up there to remind myself and just show others that, everyone sucks at one point. And always a good tip is to ask yourself the why of everything. Do like the Aristotelian method. Ask why. I like this, and then why. And you'll keep going until you'll find the final cause, the telos of why you like this thing. And if you want to represent that in the way you dress, and it'll make it a little easier to find out what your personal style is by knowing the why of your motivation. And I got a video on that, which will explain a lot easier than I am now. But yeah, those are my final words.
Thank you. Sam?
Yeah, I would just say, again, thank you for having me, Nicholas. Likewise, Demetrios and Shaban. Absolute lovely gentlemen. And appreciate the chat. But look, never forget your manners. The one thing you can do is they say, I don't want to come in here and say, this standard shit that people say, dressing is a form of good manners, but it is. And don't forget your actual manners, your pleases and thank yous, because it's not just how you present yourself with your clothing, it's the way you talk, how you speak, your haircut, your facial hair, the works. So, don't just neglect everything and focus on your menswear too much. And, be nice. That's about it from me,
Good points. Thank you, Sam. People, follow these awesome guys on Instagram. Demetrios also has a YouTube channel. All the links are in the video description. You can watch me live stream in German every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central European time on Twitch. Also a link in the video description. Thank you for being here. Good night or good morning or whatever. Bye. And you guys stick around so we can, talk a couple more minutes more. So see you soon.
Thank you.